So block number 3. So into block number 3, we're going to see advanced editing concept about Wikidata. So properties that we've seen a lot, they are actually first-class citizens into Wikidata. They're not as numerous as the Wikidata item, but they have their own page, they have their own here, sorry. It's a space, actually, it's called. So, excuse me. So let's say we want more information about, let's go on into gender, since we had this question. So you see here, actually, the property name is a hyperlink. So if I click on it, and I go into this page, now we see that we are into the space of property. So it's property, semicolon, and then the name of the property, the identifier of the property, so P21. And this is interesting because here you have a lot of information about, like, we were talking about transgender male or transgender female. So there's also intersex. Some people are born with both sexes. So so we see here in the description of a property, you have much more information about how what can be put or not, or how can be used. So we're going to look further on certain items, certain information about this. But one thing that is important is here, like this property accept Wikidata items. So the data type is something we don't have in entities, Wikidata items, but it's the first information before statement when you're in a property. Now, there are some instructions you can find here in the description of a property, but there's also examples. So these are items that have this this property, sex or gender, and they're examples. So Grumpy the cat would be a female organism, which is because female are only for human and male are only for human. So basically, if you want, there's a organism, and also we see here transgender female. So if we want an example of a transgender female, we can see this item Kim Petras. So I will not go throughout everything in that, but we'll come back for the constraint here later on in this block. So now here are our constraints. Now constraints are very interesting in the way that they enable a better use of the property, and they tailor the use to make sure that if you don't use it optimally, it will warn you. That we've seen while creating the Yamamoto Wikidata item, we've seen that actually two constraints were triggered. So the definition of the constraint are stored into the property, into their own section. We will not go into the details of that, but I encourage you to go and look at it to slowly understand what can be done in terms of constraint. But what's important about constraint is to understand that when you have a constraint that's broken, then there's a special sign that will appear here. So now he's telling us this statement has potential issues. So it tells us that Maiko should have a statement with written system. Now this is funny because it's not about this constraint, it's actually about this item here that should have let's try to keep this simple. I will not fix this because it's too complex. I don't want to burden you, but you can trust me. This item should be changed in order for this constraint to disappear. So it's not, the problem is not into Maika Yamamoto item we've just created, it's in the MyEco given name item, which lacks a statement that. So he's telling us you're using this, but this is imperfect. But it's okay, we'll live with that. And that's something really I want to stress to you about the importance of accepting that what you do into Wikidata is not perfect. It's a continuous process, and we all add up a little information, and some people are going to come back, clean up some things. There might be mistake, other people will see them, or you will in the future see your mistake and clean them up. So basically, this is something that we have to live with. Now, here we have another constraint warning. So basically, there's actually two things that are not working. First of all, it's telling us that it should have a qualifier for the numeric ID of the Twitter user. So now I will just show you how this could be added. So it's a qualifier, and it's Twitter user numeric, but I'm not going to take the time here to find a good number, but let's pretend it's this number. And now I will save it, but I will remove it before the end. So by putting a number here, you see that, oh, there's one warning that has disappeared. So it's also asking us to put a start time. So let's add this constraint. So start time. Start time. Let's say now we're not sure when it started, but what we're sure is that from today till once it's changed, we know that it existed. So this is not perfect. It's not really the start time, but at this, we're sure that it started at least at this state. So, and now you see by adding those two qualifiers, and you can see that the warning for the constraint has disappeared. So for him now, it's like saying, okay, this statement is okay. It has all what a statement about Twitter user item usually have. But like I said, since I put garbage here, I will remove that one. But I can keep this one even if it's not perfect. So now this is for constraint. So we've seen an example of a constraint and how we could fix it so that it no longer makes a problem. So here, there's another example of a constraint. Actually, we could also go into this one. Okay. Let's go to this item here for Toronto Center for Art, where we have also a constraint that is doing this problem here. So it's the official website. Let's go see, because let's look at this is another icon to show that there is a problem with constraint. So we've seen the circle with the exclamation mark, but there's also the little flag. So this says it requires a qualifier constraint. So the official website is missing a qualifier language or name. So basically, let's look at the website here. And what's the language of this website? Well, pretty much all in English. Let's say there's another language. No, you can't choose your language and it's English. So now here we can come back, we can edit, we can add a qualifier, language of work, and we can say, well, this is English. And English, we're talking about the language. So make sure that West Germanic language originating in England. So that would be the correct English. So by adding English as the name of the language or a word, then we no longer have the constraint warning because we filled the constraint. So now for Wikidata, this is perfect. So constraints are actually tools to help us do better, quality information entering. So we are going to look now at special pages. Special pages are tools that we can use into Wikidata to help us do different operations. So like we can see here, they're tool to help see redirects, to see errors, to see some pages that have some information, some pages about information about their categories and all that. And there's a lot of tools that can be used. But this is also a page you can explore by yourself, and you can look at the abilities and the operation you can do while you're in Wikidata. But we have one particular tool that we're interested in, and it's merge to item. So here we click on merge to item. Let's go here to this page. So this is the fusion command, and it has its own special page with the command to merge item. So let's go back here. So basically how you would do that is that I currently do not have an example, but let's show you that. Let's say we would have two Toronto centers for art. Then we would put the ID of the first one, and we'll put the ID of the second one, say it's that, and we would ask it to merge the two items. And what would it would do? It would take the second item, it would put the information of the second item into the first item. It will also look back into Wikidata every place that points to the second item, and it will change it to make it point to the item that is going to be the merge item. So this is very important because, like I said, when you create a new item, the first thing is got to make sure it doesn't exist. But let's say you pass 5, 10, 12, 15 minutes looking for it, and then at one point you believe it doesn't exist, but it actually was entered, but entered with the wrong name, or entered with another name, or for one or other reason you didn't find it, but afterwards you find that it already existed. So merging the two items makes sure that we keep the consistency while also removing the duplicate problem. So this is a very interesting tool that you might have to use. So basically, this is for merging duplicate, and this brings us to the end of block number 3. So is there questions about block number 3?
Excuse me, Antoine. No, there were no questions actually about block number 3, but I would like to ask one. Some of the constraint warnings or notifications that you displayed, some of them had an exclamation mark and others had a flag. What is the difference between the two of them?
I'm not really sure exactly. That's a very good question. I will probably, to give you the best answer, I will probably have to come back for that. But my understanding here would be that I think some of them are. You know what? I will not try to answer that because
okay,
I will not.
But that's something that you can share later on. But we do
Yes.
have another question now from Jillian. Is it possible to review how you might edit properties for an organization or group as opposed to an individual? Some of the statements, for example. This question is not totally clear to me. So Jillian, do you want to speak up and ask your question directly of Antoine?
Well, while you take care of finding the micro and the way to talk, Julian, let me make sure you're actually asking me how we can edit organization, like we did create an item for a person, but you would like to know how to create an item for an organization or a group. Is that your question? Okay, now, so rest assured. So I want to clarify some things. Today, in this workshop, I'm showing you how to create a person, because a person is really simple, but what you're really looking at is actually just a simple creation in Wikidata. In the workshop number 4, 5, and 6, in number 4, we are going to look thoroughly what are the properties for an individual. So now we're doing like a simple, fast creation of an item, just to show how it's done. But in workshop number 4, we're going to be thorough on that. On workshop number 5, we're going to show how to add statements about organization or groups. So for your question, yes, we're going to talk about that in workshop number 5, but don't worry, we'll also come back on properties for people in workshop number 4. And after people 4, organization 5, 6, we're going to have the buildings and the places. 7, we're going to have I might be wrong there, but I think it's the production the work in cultural that are done. So basically, we still have a lot. This is only really minimal creation. So yes, don't worry about that.